All right, everybody. I have a very special guest here today, Mr. Jordan Marshall, Hobie's 2021 Angler of the Year. Um, Friend of mine. Well, we're acquaintances, I guess.
It depends on when you ask, right?
Friends. I don't know. That's a term. But we're going to talk tonight a little bit about the Shimano Curado MGL 70 and 71 that they just came out with this year. It was new on the market this year, and I'm sure that, if you are looking for this reel, you've probably searched it already on YouTube, and you got a lot of people that are talking about it that haven't probably used it extensively. The difference is here, Jordan and I have both used multiples of these reels for an entire season. Putting them through the motions and doing stuff with them that, in a typical season of fishing that you would do with your rods and your reels. So we're going to talk about it with a little bit of personal knowledge versus just what, is listed on a spec sheet somewhere and what someone's going to, regurgitate from you from what, from something that they've read. So, Jordan, do you want to, talk a little bit first about what you think about the reel overall, and then I'll start talking about some of the specs?
Yeah, absolutely. So I picked up the reel pretty much as soon as I heard that they offered it in the Curado model. So, everybody hears about the MGL spools and DC and a lot of that stuff that they start out with metaniums and real high-end stuff. So when they offered the MGL and the Curado, I really jumped at it because I own pretty much all Curados, a couple Chronarchs, and got the Curado. As soon as I heard about it, realized that I really like throwing crankbaits and stuff, small crankbaits. Your 200 series bandits, your DT6. I like throwing a lot of custom wood baits, flat sides, things like that, small top waters. And I realized that was going to be a big help for me to get a lot more distance out of my casting for those baits. And everybody that knows me knows I really cover water, make a lot of casts, and making long casts, keep from spooking baits is a big help. And as soon as I bought that, I took it out. I think I got it probably February or March. I'm not sure they were out then or when they exactly came out, but I got it pretty early in the year because I was still cranking a whole lot. And man, that was I probably got, I don't know the numbers, but I got probably 20% more if I had to guess, more distance out of it. And it's just a really, really smooth reel. I mean, a lot of times when I'd have to cast those baits, I'd either have to go to a spinning rod, which I hate, or B, throw my arm out of socket every time I went to cast to make something work. So it helped me out a lot, just making smoother casts.
Yeah. I think I actually picked one up whenever I was in Tennessee for the TOC in 2020 at Loudon in Tellico. There was, I forget, it's going to bother me, but I forget what store it was there. But one of my Abu Garcia casting reels took a crap on me. And it was the lighter one, one of their ALFs or something like that. And it was on a lightweight casting rod, like a 6'9" medium fast.
Yeah, I got this one right here on a 610 sitting below me, but it's a Lose that I picked up at a Walmart.
Yeah, well, it was my jerkbait rod.
Yeah,
so I went to the tackle shop and I saw it and I was like, man, I'm like, that looks slick. I'm like, I'm gonna pick that
local
up.
shop or
yeah, it was local.
Probably CNC or McKee's.
I think it was McKee's actually.
Yeah, he's on the Tellico end of
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was that's your sponsor, right?
McKee's? Yeah. McKee's is great, man. He was one of the first people to get him in, and I bought one from him and one from CNC because I had a gift card there for after a tournament.
Yeah,
man, those things are the bomb, and they really are. The whole MGL series of all their reels, those spools are great.
I think that was the first thing I noticed using it was like just how smooth it casted.
Yeah.
I took it out on Loudon, and I was fishing riprap around where all that bait was piled up, and I had a little 1/4 ounce Strike King lipless that I was just chucking parallel to that riprap and just burning it through that bait and making it scatter. I was catching a lot of fish and pre-fishing doing that. But I was noticing was, man, I was casting it at least 15 to 20 yards further than I was with that Abu Garcia reel. And I was like, man, I'm bombing this thing, and it's only a quarter ounce.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it absolutely would just soar. And, immediately after that, I mean, that was an 8-to-1 reel that I bought from there. Like, I got home and I immediately called Jamie down at the dugout, and I'm like, how many of these do you have? Whatever you have, I want sent to me. And he's like, I only have 2 right now. And I'm like, send them to me. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just, I'll take the 2. And they were both 7-speed. So
I think they even came out with an SLX MGL.
They did, yeah. Lower entry price model. And from what I understand, it's the same inner workings.
Yeah.
It's just something different with the outer body of it.
Yeah.
But,
my favorite thing about that Curado 71 is how small it fits in my hand.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I'll just kind of like flick it around the back with my middle finger and my ring finger just to.
Yeah, you can one-hand cast with this thing super easy because of how small it is. But let me talk a little bit about a couple of the specs here and get the formal crap out of the way. They have it in 2 speeds, the 70, or they have it in 2 speeds, an HG and an XG, which is 7-speed, which is 29 inches per crank, and then an XG, which is 32 inches per crank. It's 6.9 ounces, 8+1 bearings, has a 12-pound cross carbon drag system. And the spool is, they rate it for the amount of line you can put on there. They have for mono is 10 pound of 100, or 10 pound, 105 yards, 12 pounds, 85 yards, and 14 pounds, 70 yards. For braid, they say 20 pounds, you'll get 115 yards, 30 pounds, you'll get 105 yards, and 40 pound, you'll get 80 yards. They have the micro module gears in them, and they have that real durable, I think it's Hagen body that Shimano puts on their Curados. I'll talk a little bit about that now. Like, I don't know about you, but when I put my rods in the rod tubes in the Hobie, they basically stay there. They stay there in travel,
storage and everything.
Yeah, all the time. So those rods are always bouncing around down in the bottom of that kayak. And this is the ceiling fan right there is about to come down. This is the 8-speed, the first one that I picked up, and I'll get it close. That's after a year worth of sitting in the bottom of the kayak. I mean, not an entire year like this, it hasn't always been in there, but you can see a couple of little, dings and stuff in it. But man, the body of it is so durable. Like, the paint doesn't chip and, that kind of stuff. So that was really cool with it too.
I look like that.
Well, I'm also a little bit prissy with my stuff. I make sure, I'll wipe them down and all that crap. But, you talked about the fit and the feel in the hand, and, we talked about just the one hand casting, all, real easy to palm, but it's also super lightweight too. That super lightweight, I think, you can pair it up with a lighter weight rod, and it doesn't kind of overpower it. Cause if you put like a 200 series or size reel on a 6'9" medium, that's going to feel stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They made a reel that you can use on them lighter casting rods.
Balances it out.
You very much
balances, right?
Yeah, very balance is important. You talked about some of the stuff that you use it for. I wrote down a couple things here. Like, I like to use it for jerk baits, like anything under a half ounce. It really does well with a mega bass 110. You said about the lightweight crankbaits. I'm a big fan of the Rapala, flat sides. The Otts OG6 or whatever.
OG Slims, yeah.
Yeah, man, you can freaking fire that thing a mile. And then I also use their DT4s and DT6s a lot. In their the Fat 3. I really like the Fat 3.
DT8s when they come out.
I already got a couple DT8s coming, but I don't want to talk too much about that because my wife's sitting over there.
I got to get my hands on some. I'm on a couple lists in a couple different places, I think, but
So
I ain't put my hands on them yet, but I'll have them.
I got 4 that are coming shipped out today from the dugout. So
I'm probably on a list for about 20 or so between the two. I like to make sure I get prepared just in case we have a jackhammer scenario or a DT10 demon scenario or anything like that. I don't around
crappy spinner baits like those little 1/8 ounce deals that Strike King makes. I've thrown those on this reel. And the smallmouth, they really only last about for one smallmouth when you do that because the smallmouth tear them up. But if that's what they're eating,
fish up there on the Susky,
they're different breed, man. They're different. So I just got done talking a little bit about spinner baits, but you alluded to it with what's tied on right there. You have a one of those shower blow 70s, right?
Yeah, 77. Yeah, it's new that came out this year. Bought some of those in the chrome and the white, and piddle around and tried to throw it on a normal topwater rod and set up, and it was not happening whatsoever. It was not happening, and it's still light for the setup here, but I mean it definitely will take care of it.
For me, I like throwing poppers on it. Them little pop R's like the Ricos and stuff.
Yeah,
and some of them things are little, 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce. They're hard to throw on a typical bait caster. Unless you're really skilled and, they're hard to throw, but not with this thing, dude. I was throwing a 1/4 ounce popper a lot this summer and, just launching it out there in clear water on the Susky. And that really helped out. And even the Whopper Plopper 90s, you ever throw the 90s? Yeah. So I'm actually a big fan of the 75. I think the 75 is kind of my favorite size of all. It has the sound, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of the 75.
My favorite size of the Whopper Ploppers is
probably the 130. You're gonna show me a 190.
I'm gonna show you Lucy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a big one. Is that the 190 or the 130?
That's the 190, but I throw the 130 the most. I got a couple 190s that I'll throw around just for fun sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's 130. 130 is where it's at. I throw the 130 almost exclusively, really. Other than if I
wouldn't necessarily throw the 130 on this reel though. I don't know.
It was sling that thing to the whole line came out of it. I almost wonder
you're going to spool it is what you're going to do.
That's fine. Of course, then again, I wouldn't exactly want to hook up on an angry smallmouth at the end of my line, 100 yards out,
or a big muskie either. That would be kind of a situation. But finesse jigs, poppers, light. Another thing is light buzz baits too. Like them little 1/4 ounce. The rusty squeakers from Picasso, I think. I like throwing those on that too. But I mean, it can handle some bigger stuff. But I don't know how. I mean, I don't think I've thrown anything bigger than a 1/2 ounce on it.
There's some guys down here that are like me and are anti-spinning rod that throw their shaky heads and Ned rigs and everything on it.
Wow. Ned rig.
It can handle a Ned rig. Everybody likes throwing the Ned rig. That's one of the most popular baits out right now. And I mean, there's guys down here that don't like throwing spinning rods that throw a Ned rig on that reel.
Yeah. Now, do you have any cons that you can think of with this reel?
I don't know if it's because it's the 70, or if the 70 is just a smaller body. I feel like sometimes if I hook a big fish, I don't have the wrenching power. The whole gear down that I have on some of the 200 series. I don't know what the technical differences are. But that would be my only. It doesn't seem to have like I would be careful to throw it around grass and stuff like that for fear of a fish getting up in there and me not being able to do anything with it.
Yeah, I can see that. We don't have that same type of grass down there. I mean, we have grass up here, but it ain't like grass you guys got down there.
No carpet up there?
No. I mean, there's some places, but it's few and far between. But I will say that did you notice that the handle size on that reel is a little bit longer than most smaller frame reels like that? I don't know what
I like
millimeter
it.
it is.
I haven't noticed it, but I mean, if the handle's bigger, I'm probably glad, 'cause that's probably why I like this reel that much more.
Yeah, I think that makes a difference because whenever I had that Abu Garcia ALF reel, the handle was really, really close together. The two handles were. And that was the first thing I noticed whenever I picked this up was just that they were a little bit further. It was a little bit more comfortable, like ergonomic for me, I guess.
Yeah.
But, we talked about the fact that it casts light baits really well. The external brake dial adjustment's really nice. That's something that the regular Curado K didn't have, that this one does have. I really like that because you can change it, if it's windy or whatever, you can switch the little dial there.
Yeah.
And, the other thing, too, that I think a lot of people don't really realize until they probably buy one and use it is the thumb bar on this reel is super wide. A lot of those smaller reels have a really, really close in, narrow thumb area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This one, I mean, my thumb doesn't hit the sides on anywhere on it. Like right there, that thumb, like it just kind of sits there perfectly, and it doesn't really. I don't know. Like if I get a really thin area right there, I tend to start getting irritation in the corners of my thumbs if I use it.
On like the inside of your thumb where it's rubbing.
Yeah.
That part right here.
Yeah. I don't get that with this reel. I don't know if you do, but for me, I don't get that with this reel.
I've never really had an issue. I don't know if it's a Shimano thing or if it's what, but I've never really. I know what you're talking about because I've had the issue before, but I can't think of what reel it is, which probably leads me to believe it's not the 14 Curados or 14 Curados and Chronarchs I have right now, because I don't know the last time I have it.
I've experienced it on the Abu Garcia ALF, and I also experienced it. I hate to admit this, but on a couple Ardent reels that I that I experimented with at one point in time.
Team Ardent, you got those for 50% off.
I mean,
continuous sale 24/7, 365, didn't you?
I drank the Kool-Aid and I was like, yeah, well, all I got to do is sign up for this, Jazz, and I get some discounts. Yeah, I drank that Kool-Aid, but then I spit it back out after a while. So, but I don't know, man. I think all around, I think this reel is a really versatile piece of equipment to put in your arsenal. I mean, I think you would agree since you have a couple of them too. But
first thing I did after buying one was go right back out and bought another one.
Yeah,
in a week, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's in right now I think they're still pretty hard to come by too, especially for left hand like the ones we use.
Yeah, that's why I got so excited when I saw the SLX had an MGL. Because I'll be honest, when I go and pick up some of those DT8s at McKee's, I'll probably slide in there and get me a SLX MGL as well, because I've heard really good things about that reel. I don't own any SLXs, but there's quite a few people here that are throwing SLXs both in the regular and the DC. They say that SLX DC is about as good of a reel as you can come by for the money.
Do you remember what the price point is on that? I'm searching it right now.
I want to say the regular SLX is like 120. So I'd say the MGL is probably 169 SLX.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to pull it up on Tackle Warehouse real quick because I want to make sure that I know that this one, the one that we're talking about is a $230. I think it's $230 retail.
Yeah.
The SLX MGL 70 is, I know it's less by a decent amount. Hang tight with me.
I'm gonna say 160, 159.99. That's my guess.
I think it was close to that. You're right, because they're DC.
Normally the MGLs are about $30 more than the original, and I think the SLX is at 120.
I know that the SLX DC is like $190, so I think it's a little bit under that. It's 150, $149.99 for the SLX MGL 70. That's a tough price to beat right there.
Absolutely. I'm definitely be picking one up for that.
Yeah. 12 pounds. I mean, 12-pound drags. It's only 1 pound more than like the typical Curados. I think they're at 11, but it really doesn't. I didn't have it slip. I don't think I've had it flip all year.
1 pound more, but in a smaller frame, you don't expect it to be as much.
Right.
And it's actually pretty good. I mean, I've hooked up on some pretty big fish on that little, small hybrids and stuff on that spook or that shower blow. And man, I mean, I handled it pretty good as far as the drag goes. Now the curing didn't, seem to be as tough and grinding them in, but
so I had probably a 15-pound channel catfish absolutely destroy a spinnerbait on me in the Susquehanna a few months back, and I was using one of those 3/8 ounce spinnerbaits that the guy Special makes up here, and dude, that thing, I was so surprised. I mean, it pulled drag, like, it pulled drag on me, but
it was smooth when it pulled the drag. It wasn't.
Right. It wasn't, it didn't slip on the hook set. Like, the only time that he pulled drag, and it was completely tightened down, but, he got down current, flipped me around, and then every time he would shake his head, I'd feel just a smooth little, coming off. But, that's to be expected whenever you catch a fish that you, that you probably weren't fishing for anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm extremely pleased with it. I'm happy with it. I have no desire to change it out. And, they've been running all year long with, I think they've only been cleaned one time, and they're still, fantastic. So yours probably haven't been cleaned at all, have they?
No, they get cleaned once a year.
I appreciate you coming on and talked with me about this reel. Where I know there's some places locally that support you, where would people want to go to find this particular reel or any Shimano reel?
Yeah, that would be McKee Outdoors. We've talked about it a couple times. Matt McKee, the owner, is a young guy. He's probably 30 or so. So he gets it. He's in the know. He's constantly on his phone. He's answering Facebook messages and staying on there constantly on social media and answering questions for everybody. And he's up to date on everything. And he's a spastic little guy, but man, he's a wealth of knowledge and knows what's coming out, knows the specs all the time. And there were some guys that went down there today that were like, it was like, man, he was really busy, but he was really helpful for how many people were in there. So that's a local gym that's tucked out here in the middle of nowhere.
he was there. It's funny the way you describe him, because I know now that he was there the day I went and bought this reel.
Yeah.
Because he was the one to help me out getting it. Yes, I mean, real good shop, really well stocked too for being a smaller shop. I mean, they had a ton of stuff in there.
Yeah, he makes great use of the size that he's got. He knows what guys are buying, whether it's locally or regionally. He knows what guys are buying, what's to get a hold of, when to buy it before things go out of stock. And Matt does a great job with that thing. And he's the first booth you walk into at the East Tennessee Fishing Show. We mentioned show season coming up, and he's got one of the bigger booths, tackle booths, and the whole thing. Man, he kills it for that. He's unbelievably stocked up for those shows at the start of the year.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's great to have those little local shops like that. We have one here as well. With Susquehanna Fishing Tackle that does really well. But if I was going to tell someone where to go get this, and it's easy because it's right online, is down at the Dugout Bait Tackle in Marietta, Georgia. Jamie has always a ton of stuff. I know you go there sometimes or get stuff from there sometimes whenever you can't find it anywhere else. That's where I would go to get mine, obviously, because we're trying to advertise for the people that support us, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on talking to me about it too. And I just picked this up today, but I think this would work great on that Curado 70. And that is that chatterbait mini max. That is a 1/4 ounce chatterbait.
Has that got the clear blade on it, or has that actually got a metal blade?
It's got a metal blade. It's not the stealth jackhammer.
Oh, God, I got you. I see it shining.
Yeah. So this is actually one of the new ones that they came out with this year. I picked up 2 of them just to try them out. I don't know anything about them, haven't used them yet, but 1/4 ounce, throw a little trailer on the back of that bad boy. I think that'll go great with that little reel, especially on like a 6'10" or 7-foot medium rod.
That's the difference in me and you. You're buying the 1/4 ounce new jackhammer, and I'm out here buying half a dozen of those new big blade jackhammers. Hey, real quick, while I'm thinking of it, you mentioned Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. Those guys helped me out a whole lot when I was up there for the Hobie. I ran out of specific colored jackhammers I was catching fish on the first day, and he put some out in a specific place outside his shop. And I drove down there after hours and picked them up. I paid online ahead of time. You know, a lot of shops won't do that. If you're not there when they close the doors, they don't care. But, you know, I rolled up, walked over to where they were, and there were 4 different bags sitting there of 4 different people that they were helping out the same day. And they were liable to be guys fishing the tournament for all I know. But, man, that's you don't get that kind of service from Bass Pro or anything like that. So, you know, local shops are where it's at. Those people want you to catch fish as much as much as you want to. So,
but man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna let you get going. We've only been on here for about 45 minutes, but I'm gonna have to cut some of this video up and we're, from what I understand, you're gonna throw this up on your channel too, right? You have
that's the goal. This will be my second video. I'm gonna try to get some stuff up this week before the new year, so I can hit the ground running in January when I start doing tournaments and all that stuff.
You know, man, like I said, I appreciate you coming on, and I can't wait for you to get your channel up. I think it's going to be awesome. Once you have it up and running, I'll make sure I link it up on this video.
I appreciate it. I'm just a goofball with a mullet trying to figure out how to do this.
I mean, you're a goofball with a mullet and a bunch of daggone trophies and not a TOC champion, but a Angler of the Year champion. I mean, you may as well be a TOC champion. You've taken what, second 2 years in a row?
Second 2 years in a row. Yeah, that's
I mean,
one year I would have put all the money I had that I was going to win going into the tournament, and this year I would have put all the money I owned that I had wanted on the last day, and thought I did until my name wasn't called, or my name was called for second, I should say. So
yeah, that's
we'll break through, but you know, it's hard to complain about 3. You know, making the TOC every year and finishing 5th, 2nd, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, you're doing really well for yourself, man, and that's why that's why I said to appreciate you coming on. I know you're probably busy. You got people, you got hot women throwing bras and panties at you because you're champion now. I mean, no,
it's the mullet. It's the mullet.